desire to be.
Truman and Calling Peace in Wartimes. This is the book of Enoch, chapter 58 by Zane Koch, Veilechet NoopooH, Black 7 Walking Star, Orbs, 9-Step Foundation, Uyu Ju Tar Kinu Unu, NoopooH, Black 7-9 Justice Stool, Foundation Power, Num Ethiopian Year 60, NoopooH, Embryo Year 96, January 4th, 2023, 763 days until February 5th, 2025 AD. Verse 1, in the 500th year, in the 7th month, on the 14th day of the month, of the lifetime of Enoch, in that parable I saw that the heaven of heaven shook, that it shook violently, and that the powers of the Most High and the angels, thousands of thousands, and myriads were agitated with great agitation. When I looked, the Ancient of Days was sitting on the throne of his glory, while the angels and saints were standing around him. A great trembling came upon me, and terror seized me. My loins were bowed down and loosened, my reins were dissolved, and I fell upon my face. The holy Michael, another holy angel, one of the holy ones, was sent, who raised me up. And when he raised me, my spirit returned, for I was incapable of enduring this vision of violence, its agitation, and the concussions of heaven. Then Holy Michael, then Holy Michael said to me, wherefore are you disturbed at this vision? Hitherto was existed the day of mercy, and he has been merciful and long-suffering towards all who dwell upon the earth. But when the time shall come, then shall the power of the punishment and the judgment take place. So in this point, Michael is talking about the moon cycle, because in the moon cycle, for the last 6,000 years, from February 5th, 4038 BCE to February 5th, 1962, was the moon cycle of mercy and forgiveness. So he's talking about judgment is when the February 5th, 1962 came in with the 7 orbs aligned, bringing in the sun cycle. All right. Explanation: the angel or spirit being is Michael. All right. What is Michael in Arabic? Michael is usually masculine, given name derived from the Hebrew phrase Mikael, who is like El in Aramaic. The El is short for Elyon, meaning highest, as in the Most High in Aramaic, in Hebrew, and Elyon in Arabic. You will find Elyon mentioned in Genesis 14:22. Let's bring it up a little bit. And it says, God Yahweh, to my hand I have raised of Sodom the king to Abraham, but said, and earth of heaven the possessor, Most High. So here you see the name Elyon, Hebrews Concordance 59:45. In Noon Science, Elyon is identified as a sun, a so-called planet Jupiter. Let this be read and be known again. Everything that is invisible on planet Earth has a visible counterpart somewhere on this planet. The name Noel, as in the Christmas Carol, means Noah is Elyon, Elo or Elohim. Elyon, Elo or Elohim is Jesus, and Jesus is 6 ether, the forces of evolution. Jesus, who has many names such as Elyon, Marduk, Molech, Zeus, Jupiter, Ra, Harmachis, etc. The etymological or original meaning of the name Jesus is gases, conscious fire gases. In other words, Jesus is 6 ether and was called Baal, Elyon, Marduk, Dagon, Bel, etc. in Western Asia. Amen, Ra, Osiris, Harmachis, Horus, Sobek, etc. in Egypt. Sol, Jupiter. Bible Interpretation, Book 2, number 19 and 91 in part. The sun gods, individual spirit power are the true stars of the universes, and they are countless together with their consort goddesses. The sun god on planet Earth is called by various names by various people and different ethnic races by the names Ra, Re, Amun-Ra, Re-Harakti, Uranus, Ta, Jupiter, Helios, Horus, Elyon, Brahma, Phobos, Dunbala, Eli, as in the Caucasian Bible. Eli is short for Helios and Elyon, Marduk, Allah, Zeus, etc. Introduction to the Nature, Book 2, page 146 in part. As a biblical fact, Jesus, Isa, Panthera, Caesarion, Ptolemy the 15th, the 15th, the son of Cleopatra and Marcus Antonius, not Julius Caesar, was calling on Jupiter as Eli when he was crucified on top of the Giza pyramids in Kemet, Egypt. Let's read Matthew 27, verse 46. From the 6th hour into the 9th hour, darkness came over all the land. About the 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? I am known as Elyon in religion and Juta, Jupiter in noon. Let's take a look at who the angel Michael will be in noon science. Let's look at the gematria. All right, you got the angel Michael, which is 54. Johnny Eugene, which is Alpha Unu's name, comes out to 54. However, we, the 9 orbs, Eniac, Paseja, and NoopooH's no religion is a spell, and that is why Amenubit Rakapata, aka Alpha Unu, did not teach religion, nor the acceptance or practice of it. Listen to reason. Ethiopians by race should know this is what religion means to us. Spiritual and religious captivity and bondage, as well as mental inhibition and decrease of true reasonability. The facts in this topic reveal why some people are so anxious to proselyte, convert peoples of other ethnic races to their religion. Therefore, Mr. and Mrs. Ethiopian by race, you will never regain proper dignity and world respect until you accept and embrace your own true cultural, mental, physical, spiritual, and economic power and knowledge base. In other words, an ethnic race true culture is its natural power base for survival and well-being, and Noon identifies is the true cultural natural power base of the Ethiopian race. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature, Book 1, pages 230 to 231. The purpose of religion. If one does not know the composition and nature of what he worships, for all he knows, it may be a monster. Scientifically, religion is the interference of the dead into the lives of the living. The dead are those negative forces of nature who must oppress, suppress, repress, and subsist on living substances and living beings in order to survive. 6 Ether is the power of the dead because it is evolutionary forces that cause things to get old, die, and decay. Therefore, the prime purpose of religion is to spellbound people to do the will of the dead for the survival of the dead. Religious worship increases the power of the dead and makes the dead stronger to cause more suffering and more death. And more death there are, the stronger the dead get, unless the deaths are neutralized and counteracted by the new cycle gases, the revolutionary cycle gases, the 9-ball count 2, number 14, which the lower spirits has prepared for those who prostrate themselves to the judgment of righteousness. Explanation. Listen to reason. Now that this writer is on the verge of bringing this book 2 of Introduction to the Nature to a close, he wished to ask members of religion this question: had you rather for Judgment Day or Judgment Time to come upon you quickly without warning, and you have no time for making yourselves compatible with Almighty Nature, or be warned just in time to get yourselves together for survival and well-being beyond Armageddon? Describe his reasons to think, indeed, that most religionists and peoples in general would surely choose the latter, having time to prepare. Introduction to the Nature, Nature, Book 2, pages 267 to 268 in part. For those who abjure, meaning deny, that judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day has been prepared for the elect has been prepared for the elect as a day of covenant. Explanation. Listen to reason. Since we have little or no control over spirit beings, especially as far as liberation from adverse forces is concerned, we let nature take its course with them. In the meantime, however, members of the Ethiopian race should join the promise and covenant made between Afro-Uno and NoopooH that guarantees liberation from enemies of the African race and all who need liberation. If we adhere to nature and reason according to Noon, the science of positive knowledge and liberation from enemy forces, of course Afro-Uno is the philosopher, writer, and messenger of Nine NoopooH, and the covenant agreement for the African race between Afro-Uno and Sound Right Reason NoopooH is found in Introduction to the Nature, Book 2 on page 236, also written by Afro-Uno. Read or recite this memorandum conversation at least once a day, and its recital daily will lessen your negative psyche more and more until the ruling spirits send you a positive psyche that will help you instead of harm you. Once you let go of their religion of other ethnic races and accept and practice your own spiritual science, your negative psyche may give you a hard time, but it will eventually have to go when a more positive spirit, when a more positive spirit power arrives. Let it be remembered, always let it be known. Transcript of the tape, pages 35 through 36. Okay, this is a typo. Sorry about that. And for sinners as a day of inquisition. Explanation. That day is February 5th, 1962 to February 5th, 2025 AD, which is actually a 60-year process. 63, rather. All right, let's define inquisition. A period of prolonged and intensive questioning or investigation. She relented in her determined inquisition and offered help. Similar words: interrogation, questioning, quizzing, cross-examining, cross-questioning, catechism, investigation, inquiry, inquest, fact-finding, grilling, pumping, examination. Listen to Sound Right Reason. The biography of the universe of unique nature found in this knowledge book is basically in chronological order. This writer for NoopooH tried to keep this book in some kind of order, either alphabetical, numerical, or chronological order. He also endeavored to keep this book of factual information plain and simple, to the point, and vitally meaningful. Known as the science of knowledge by answering the knowledge questions: who, how, where, by whom, when, why, what, which, and nature of, whenever and wherever possible. Known as the identities and definitions of person, places, and things, plus their descriptions and explanations. Known as the science of investigations, examinations, analysis, and conclusions on person, places, and things. Known as the science of revealing knowledge, be it negative or positive, about person, places, and things. The science Noon discloses the opposites of almighty nature and their activities. The science Noon is this philosophy, cosmology, and biography of absolute almighty nature known as the one supreme being. The science philosophy Noon is about all space, all matter, and all time, past, present, and future. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature, Book 3, page 65 through 66 of the PDF. And in that day shall be distributed for food 2 monsters, a female monster whose name is Leviathan, dwelling in the depths of the sea above the springs of waters, and a male monster whose name is Behemoth, which possesses, moving on his breast, the invisible wilderness. All right, breast is another word for chest in biblical writings. In this case, we're talking, the chest area is called the breast. All right. The wilderness is the breast of the behemoth. The behemoth definition. Behemoth in the Old Testament is a powerful grass-eating animal whose bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. Among various Jewish legends, one relates that the righteous will witness a spectacular battle between Behemoth and Leviathan in the Messianic era and later feast upon their flesh. Some sources identify Behemoth, who dwells in the marsh and is not frightened by the turbulent River Jordan, as a hippopotamus, and Leviathan as a crocodile, whale, or snake. Side note, Behemoth represent the earth god. Okay, so I'll explain that in a second. The secret is this: Leviathan, meaning the animal power of unity and levitation, represents all spirit beings, including all gods and goddesses that exist in the bottom half of the smash circle of order during the bottom half existence, which is now, because Leviathan, being the water powers of the earth god, is the strongest member and part of the earth god, plus the fact that the earth god is naturally the dominant power over the earth by way of the sun god, which is Jupiter. The underworld god is also a member and part of the earth god, who shares this underworld power with the moon god. Furthermore, most natural ether and all spirit beings in the bottom half of the circle of order are NoopooH, Leviathan, who at this time is headed by the underworld god Osiris, also called Yama, and Pluto. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Introduction to the Nature of Nature, Book 1, pages 161 and part. Alright, the earth gods, individual spirit powers of the planets or the universes, and they are countless because the universes are infinite in number, together with their consort goddesses. The earth god of planet Earth has many members and parts who are called various names by various peoples in various languages, such as Jeb, Jesus, Jasiah, Dagon, Dagon, Dragon, Leviathan, Sobek, Jebathe, Poseidon, Vishnu, Neptune, Ligba, Isa, Esau, Jizzle, Pan, Panthera, Apis, etc. The firstborn or first group of every species born from Mother Goddess Earth is technically the personification of the Earth God and Earth Goddess, because planet Earth is their domain. Excuse me. Excuse me. And thereby their habitat. By technically, the writer means being born from Mother Earth makes that person a thing indeed, the offspring of Goddess Earth and the Earth God. Although the egg or seed may have been fertilized by earth power, moon power, or sun power. Excuse me. And let me add right here, even though Earth produced the eggs at the time when these eggs were being born, whether it's the top half or the bottom half, they put their energies and personalities inside the pygmy gods and goddesses and also human beings. All right. The earth god and goddesses are whereas the sun gods and goddesses are 6 ether spirit, the earth gods and goddesses are 5 ether spirit. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. His name was Dendayan, the east of the garden, where the elect and the righteous would dwell, where he received it from our ancestor, who was man, or who was a man from Adam, the first of men, whom the Lord of Spirits made. So again, he's going all the way back now, because our ancestors, which are the pygmy gods, come from Mother Earth. Mankind, such as the Phoenicians and stuff like that, and other races that came from Mother Earth, which will make Mother Earth our ancestor, right? And then the Earth has a creator or grower, which is the sun. The moon, all they go back to our sun, who was self-created. And then in this ether form, we, the Ethiopian African race, grew the universe. So what he's doing here is taking it back to the earth god. All right, and this is why I said that they moved on the breast of Dendayan, because the earth is considered The surface. You know, you can look at the earth as the skull of the planet Earth. Some say the face of the planet Earth. You see what I'm saying? But it's all talking about the surface. And here it was saying a male monster because Jeb is male. You're right, because we know that Jeb goes back to Kemet. Kemet knew that the surface part of the earth is the masculine part of the female planet. And they say whose name is Behemoth, which possesses, moving on his breast, the invisible wilderness. So there's a spirit world that you can't see that is produced by the earth god from brain concentration. But it's talking about the earth god nonetheless. I hope I, didn't confuse you. Alright, so explanation. Dendayan is another name for the earth god. Who were Adam and Eve by race and religion? Adam and Eve were Hindu East Indians, and their religion was Hinduism. We must understand that name plurality is a key to understanding the Bible. Adam was not one man, but a branch of the Hindu people. The female of that branch is called Eve in the Bible. Adam and Eve were the first men and women of this world, meaning the first people of the moon cycle. That is, the first people converted to the moon god's way of life. An ancient name of the moon and moon god is Sin. The moon cycle, the Sin cycle, began approximately 6,000 years ago, and there were millions of people of other races on planet Earth when Adam and Eve were ousted from the Garden of Eden, see, Africa and Asia, and sent to the Asian islands. So here, Enoch is saying the same thing, that land, the east of the garden where the elect and the righteous would dwell, and that is in Africa. Okay, so that is the original place. That is where all of East Africa and Asia, which is pretty much one, had all and still do have a great abundance of luxuries and other resources that the world depend on. All right, so back then he was calling Geb Dendayan. All right, Bible Interpretation and Explanation Booklet 1, number 5. Also, Dendayan, Geb, Earth God, controls the animal power side of the Leviathan, which is an extension of himself. Here's the gematria. All right, we got Dendayan come out to 40. Animal comes out to 40. The Geb God comes out to 40. Then I asked of another angel to show me the power of those monsters, how they become separated on the same day, one being in the depths of the sea and one in the dry desert. And he said, "You, son of man, are here desirous of understanding secret things." And the angel of peace who was with me said, "These two monsters are by the power of God prepared to become food, that the punishment of God may not be in vain." Explanation. This was explained in verse 7. God in this quote is referring to the nature of nature, the one supreme being. Then shall children be slain with their mothers, and sons with their fathers. And when the punishment of the Lord of spirits shall continue upon them, shall it continue, and that the punishment of the Lord of spirits may not take place in vain. After that, judgment shall exist with mercy and long suffering. So in this case, the Lord of spirits in this case is Jupiter, because Jupiter is the king of animal world and mankind, and she is the one that would be doing the whip, throwing the whips around the rocks and everything else, asteroids, etc. NoopooH does not kill, and that's NoopooH. The positive side of NoopooH would be doing all of the whiplashing from 3 south all the way to 6 east. Because when the pygmy gods and stuff come, there's no violence and there's nothing negative there, and everybody knows the right thing to do. Explanation. This speaking of judgment that started before February 5th, 1962 AD to February 5th, 2022 AD. Now we are in the sentencing part of this terrible process from February 5th, 2022 AD to February 5th, 2025 AD. Align yourselves. True me the cause of peace in wartime.